Alrighty, everybody. Hello, happy Thursday. I am super excited to be back on Periscope. Just dropped my little ones off at the daycare. Anyway, you're like, who cares? Get to this information, lady. Anyway, all right. So let me flip this around. Boom, there I am. Whoa, look at that fly away. Anyway, all right, I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna do the whole scope like this. There we go. I'm gonna make a whole new hairstyle. I'm gonna call it the mushroom, and I'm just gonna make it really crazy. There we go. This is my entrepreneur hairstyle. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, okay, that looks crazy. Let me take this down. Sorry, you're like, what is going on? Boom, let's just do that, all right? Don't care. Anyway, hey everybody, my name is Portia Jackson, and I am a business strategy and implementation coach for new entrepreneurs, and I am a former rocket scientist and decided I got bored with that because, you know, I mean, you can only launch billion-dollar rockets every now and then before you're like, okay, time for something new. Anyway, so I decided to leverage that strategy and just the analytical detail that goes into that into my online business coaching, business there. So I'm all about strategy and implementation and taking people from an idea to profit as soon as possible. So anyway, in this scope, this was a scope that was requested by someone in my, I forget who at the moment, sorry, nothing personal, in my group, the League of Incredible Female Entrepreneurs. And so today I'm going to talk all about how to transition from corporate to entrepreneur without going crazy. And as some of you all know, I used to be an aerospace engineer / rocket scientist, whatever title sounds sexiest at the time, it's the same thing. And I was doing that for 5 years. I went straight through and got my bachelor's, master's, and PhD, and then went straight into corporate America. And I was there for 5 years, which also included 2 maternity leaves, because I had a couple babies along the way. And I was just like, not really for me, getting a little bored. I was great at what I did. I had, I got promoted and everything like that, but it just wasn't my soul's calling. You know how you're just meant for something bigger? That's how I'm going to put you on my stand. Not you, but my phone. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. Repping my Michigan football today. Go blue. Anyway, yes. So what was I saying? So yes, so transitioning from corporate. So I was an aerospace engineer. That's why I like all my details and everything all lined up. And I just wasn't feeling it. Like I felt like, I'm way too young to be dreading Monday mornings on Sunday night, right? So Sunday night comes and you're like, oh, I had a great weekend. And then gosh, tomorrow is Monday morning. I got to go back to the job. And I was like, you know what? I'm like 30, 31 years old at the time. I'm 33 right now. I'm turning 34 in April if you want to send me a birthday gift. And I was like, I am way too young to be feeling like this every single weekend. Like there has to be more to life than just living for a paycheck. And so that's when I started thinking about, okay, what are some other options I have in my life? Like I had always been, kind of an entrepreneur at heart. As far as thinking outside of the box and not necessarily going with status quo. I started investing in my first mutual fund when I was 17, not necessarily an entrepreneurial thing, but it was something that was different than what all my friends were doing. I had dabbled in real estate. I got my first, thank you so much for the hearts. It matches my shirt. Look at that. Go blue, go gold. Anyway, and first rental property when I was 21, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to be like the female, well, at the time I was like the female Donald Trump. Now I'm like, I don't want to be anything near close to that guy, but that's a different scope. Anyway, so I was really excited about that, and then that just went south really quick because I had some tenants that did not take care of the property. They completely trashed it, and I was like, well, that's okay, because my thought is nothing is a failure. Everything is a step towards what I'm trying to figure out. So everything I can figure out, every problem has a solution, like I can get through this. So I never saw that as like I'm going to stop trying things, right? So I just didn't know what was next. So I just started looking into what were my true passions. And one thing I was really passionate about is finance and personal finance. Because I just feel like the stress that people have when it comes to money, paying bills, getting out of debt, doing what they love is the same type of energy that they should be applying to whatever their life's purpose is. And so I've always helped my friends and family with their personal finances just as a hobby. So I decided to go back to school. Yes, again, this is like my 5th degree. And I got my certificate in personal financial planning from UCLA. And so during that, I was like, okay, I'm going to make the transition from, it's still going to be in corporate, but it's going to be from a job I was trained for and that pays well, I was making 6 figures, to something that it's going to be a severe pay cut. It was like 50% pay cut. But it's something I love to do. And I'm like, to me, that's worth more. The money's going to come eventually. So at the time, I'm still married, right? I still have a little girl. She was like 3 months at the time. No, that's wrong. She was, how old was she? She was like 2.5 or something. And then I just had a newborn when I was like, you know what? I need to do something else. That's when I started looking into online entrepreneurship. After one day at work, I was completely bored and just fed up with the current situation. I Googled how to make $5 million. And you know who popped up? Pat Flynn. Love Pat Flynn. And so if you haven't followed him, go to smartpassiveincome.com. He has lots of great resources for you all there. And make sure after that you hop by the league so we can talk about it as well. But that opened up this whole new world to me of online entrepreneurship. And I was like, what? People are making all this money online, and like, how does this even work out? So it just really it started to expand my mind of what I thought was possible, which is one of the first keys to being a great entrepreneur, is knowing that it can be done. If other people can do it, you can do it too. Thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate that. So my husband and I sat down and we're like, okay, we can make this happen. We read the 4-Hour Work Week, so we have all this momentum of like, yeah, we don't want to wait until we're 65 to get something started. Let's do this. So leading up to this point, let me tell his name again, Pat Flynn. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com, he has lots of really great information. I listened to all his podcasts when I was going to work. And actually, he introduced me to John Lee Dumas, who is the one that taught me how to do podcasting. Because my very first online business before I was doing coaching was Working Motherhood, which is a business, no problem. Let me know your name too, which is a business all for working moms. So that was actually my first foray into this online business, I guess, thing, this whole new world, right? Anyway, so before we did that transition, we were like, okay, well, we have to be financially set because I'm getting ready to transition out of my 6-figure job. Frenchette. Oh, makes sense. Got it. Well, welcome, Frenchette. I'm glad to have you here. So we already knew my husband was keeping his job. He was making 6 figures. I was making 6 figures. I was getting ready to move into a different corporate job that was going to be half of my salary. So we were like, to make up that difference, let's start an online business. Thus, Working Motherhood was born. So it started off as a podcast. I'll admit it, I had no idea what I was doing. I knew how to podcast, and I had a really great one. It still goes on right now. And so I knew I had that skill. It was an ability that I had that came from years of doing pageants and speech team and all this stuff, right? But I didn't know how to monetize that. And that's when I wish I knew then what I know now. If I would have gone back 2 years, because I started that in April of 2014, although I started researching and getting into online business probably fall of 2013, I would have gotten a coach right away because I had no clue what I was doing. So basically I wasted like a whole year of my life where I could have been making money trying to piece together freebies and opt-ins and podcasts and blog posts and stuff like that. Long story short, took a year, I did some workshops, did some courses, finally monetized Working Motherhood, and then at the same time when I transitioned from that first corporate job as an engineer into being a financial planner, it was at a big firm. I'm like, this is so fancy. I could wear all my fancy stuff and my suits. I hate you need to be bringing in with your business before you make this leap, or else you're just going to be a dreamer, right? Girls dream, women manifest, and do what it takes to make their dreams come true. So set a goal, work backwards, and make a plan. Another thing I did is I got a coach because I'm like, okay, if I'm doing this full time, I need to act like this is a business and not a hobby. So I had someone that showed me how to set up my systems, how to do, autoresponders and opt-ins and how to write copy and things like that. In addition to that, I did some courses because I knew I had some gaps in information that I needed to fill before I could have a very profitable business. So, last year I think I spent a good $30,000 on my business as far as education, coaches, getting business tools and things set up. But you know what? I see that as an investment in myself. I can invest in a mutual fund. I can invest in all sorts of businesses, which we have. But the most important resource I have is me. If I don't believe in myself, how am I going to get clients that believe in what I can do for them, right? So for all the coaches out there who are like, I'm just going to figure this out on my own and then I'm going to get some clients, How do you expect to get clients if you're not even willing to invest in yourself? Why would you expect somebody else to invest in you if you're not investing in yourself? And I'm not saying you have to spend $30,000. I'm saying spend what you need to, get the resources you need to get your business off to a business start, not a hobby start, right? Shorten that timeline between now and your goal so you can start living the life you love, okay? And the thing is, start doing this while you're still in your job. I had to make the leap because my life just wasn't what I wanted it to be, and I'm not one to whine and complain and not do anything about it. I'm someone that's just like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is where I am. Let me just close the gap, right? So that's what I did. But if you're still in a job, make a plan. You should be able to exit your job if you have a coaching business, if you're focused, if you have someone guiding you along the way step by step, and you have accountability between now and 6 months. I know people are like, you can make $1 gazillion in 3 months, you can make $1 gazillion in 6 months. The fact of the matter is, you don't need to make $1 gazillion. You need to figure out what your expenses are, add on a buffer for taxes and like business expenses and stuff like that, and then make a little plan to hightail yourself on out of the job you hate, right? You know, bye-bye cubicle land, right? Hashtag bye Felicia. But the thing is, make a plan, okay? So when it comes to transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship, number one, make sure your financial house is in order. If it's not, then go ahead and do what you need to do. I recommend the book, Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. 2, make a plan for your business. Don't just leave and just expect to have millions of dollars the next day. All right, it takes work, it takes dedication, it takes a little bit of ramp up time. You might as well do that on somebody else's dollar. And don't act like you're not at work doing other stuff anyway. If you're already on Facebook, you might as well pick a couple groups, introduce yourself, make yourself well known, so when you do make the transition, people already know who you are and more willing to buy your stuff. And number 3, work on your wealth consciousness. So if you don't know what that is, that's getting your mind in the game. So the 2 books I recommend for that, Science of Getting Rich and Think and Grow Rich. So both of those, if you actually do what they say in the books, will help you get your mind prepped for being an entrepreneur. Because guess what? And this is going to be a whole other scope. It's a whole different mindset between being an entrepreneur and being, somebody's lackey in corporate America, right? Or corporate, fill in whatever country you live in. It's completely different doing the bare minimum and knowing you're still getting paid versus hustling your butt off and maybe you don't even get clients for a couple months. You have to keep your head in the game and know that it's coming. Because as soon as you think it's not going to happen, as soon as you think fear, or as soon as you let fear and doubt come into your mind, that's when you're starting to block your progress. That's when you're not going to get clients. And that's when you're going to see the people complaining online, oh, this doesn't work. Oh, this is a get-rich-quick scheme. Oh, like, only the lucky people do it. If somebody else can do it, you can do it. If you see somebody else online getting another 10K month, booking 20 discovery calls in a month, getting 5,000 people in their Facebook group, please believe you can do it too. But be smart about it. Have that plan. So do you all have any questions about transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship? Anything that you want me to discuss further? Just to recap for those of you who are just joining, if you find this information helpful, go ahead and share the little dude down there at the bottom. And, oh, something's on fire. And then tap the screen with some hearts if you think it's valuable. But again, the 3 things that I recommend that you do to transition from corporate into entrepreneurship is 1, get your financial house in order. Have an emergency fund. Try to pay down some debt if you can. Number 2, have a business plan. Don't just go into this thinking that you can post on Facebook a couple times a month and you're just going to be raking in the clients. Have a plan. Get a coach. Buy a course. Whatever you need to do. Just don't be that person that's like collecting 50 freebies and thinking you know everything, but you haven't implemented anything. That is not going to get you money. And then 3, work on building your wealth consciousness muscle. And the books I recommend for that are The Science of Getting Rich and Think and Grow Rich. So hopefully this information has been helpful to you all. And let me show you this because I have a challenge coming up. Challenge time! If you go to portiarjackson.com/superpower-challenge, you can sign up for my Find Your Standout Superpower Find Your Clients 7-Day Challenge. And let me tell you, this is going to be epic. It's going to be detailed. It's going to be step-by-step. And y'all know I'm an engineer, so I like my step-by-step systems and plans. I don't like this, woo-woo out there in the clouds fairy stuff. And, oh, look at that. My Microsoft Word is having a little workout. So I like to give you all actionable steps that you can do every single day. And this is all about identifying your niche, which is, what you do, identifying your ideal client who is, who you serve, and then showing you how to monetize that. So you'll leave the challenge knowing who you serve, how you serve them, and how you can make money doing so. So make sure you go to www.portiarjackson.com/superpower-challenge. It starts on Monday, so don't delay, all right? So I will talk to you all later. And of course, if you have any questions about this, or if you need your own personalized leaving corporate plan, check with me in my group, the League of Incredible Female Entrepreneurs. You can go to facebook.com/groups/join the league, and I will see you there. All right, talk to you later.